So, welcome back to the Colorblind Architect Podcast. I'm your host, David Clayton, and yes, I am driving right now. I am keeping my eyes on the road, but that's okay. I just felt the need to make another video blog post. One of the challenges I've seen in the year 2020 is we're all very, very emotional this year. And it's not surprising. It's a really difficult year. We've suffered through so much this year. The pandemic, the race riots. There's been so much going on, and it's so emotionally charged. Even something as simple as, wearing a face mask has been a very difficult political battle. And you wouldn't think that wearing a face mask would be such a huge political battle, but it has been. And the more I think about it, the more I think we are all suffering through a serious problem with emotional overload. And it's something that I think is a really dangerous thing because emotions, they're important. I mean, if you remember the original Star Trek series, or even the Next Generation Star Trek series, so the character Spock in the original series, and also the character Data in the Next Generation, they both kind of played the same part. They played the part of the character that has absolutely no emotion. They're the strict rationalist. And then you had everybody else who was full of emotion. And you look at how these characters interacted and how awkward they were. And a lot of times it was comedic gold, in the fact that, here's this person that's obviously unable to have any emotional interaction, because it's not part of their being is to be emotional. And a lot of times in the episodes it was portrayed as a deficit, because in many ways, emotions are really important in helping us gauge and understand the world. A lot of times we can feel with our gut feelings when something's not right. There's something about it where we're so much more intuitive with emotions than we would be with pure reason. Now, on the flip side, if you get to the point where you're pure emotion and you're lacking reason, then you can do some very irrational things, and quite evil things, in fact, because you can be led down a path that allows you to be so angry at others that you'll just attempt to destroy them. So I think that's where we are as a society this year. We're to the point where so many of us are so overly emotional. I was thinking about making this post yesterday. I had a pretty rough weekend. It wasn't necessarily anything was wrong. It's just emotionally, I felt really down. And it was a weird thing, because I don't normally get very emotional. I don't normally get very depressed or anything like that. In fact, I've never even had any mental health issues, as far as I know. So, going through that, it made me think about the fact that there are a lot of people who go through emotional distress a lot more frequently than I do. And it got me thinking that, that's one thing that I need to do better at. I need to be more empathetic towards others who may be struggling. So, what do we go? How do we go from here? How do we solve this issue? Well, I would say that one major thing that we need to do, and just a sec, gotta get into the parking garage at work. So one of the things that I would suggest we need to do as a people and also as individuals is, when it comes to dealing with our emotions, we need to learn how to calm ourselves down and gain spiritual and mental health on a regular basis. So some of this you can do with just taking care of yourself. Go for a walk, say a little prayer, get out and do something that you enjoy. I know during the winter, one of the things I really enjoy doing is to go skiing, and it really helps. During the summer, I like to go hiking. Either way, it gets me up into the mountains. It frees me to enjoy life, and it recenters my spirit. So how do you help your friends and neighbors, your family who might be suffering? Yeah, and the lighting's terrible. I apologize. But how do you do that? Well, one of the things that you can do, and let me just see if I can adjust that lighting. Oh my goodness, that's just horrible. I'm gonna reposition the car. Anyways, I think we really need to take good care of our friends, our family. We need to consider their needs, their emotional and mental health. Take some time to go visit them, or give them a quick FaceTime call or a Zoom call, or just do something to cheer them up. Because we all need to calm down. We all need to regain our sense of rationality, because here we are a month away from the elections, and we really need to be careful to make the right choice here. And I'm not just talking about the president. I'm talking about all the way down the ballot. We need to really carefully consider, who are you sending into the city council? Who are you sending in as your mayor? Who are you sending in as your county sheriff, or your county supervisor, or your county recorder even? And I know you're probably thinking, who the freak cares about the county recorder? Well, I do. Why do I care? Because that can actually affect the quality of the publicly available information that the recorder has custody or stewardship over. And it's something that a lot of people don't think about. So this whole time we're all worried about, is it going to be Trump or Biden? And yes, that's an important question. We definitely need to make sure we make the right choice there. And I'm not going to tell you necessarily who you need to choose, because it is a tough choice for most people, for a lot of people. Frankly, I've already kind of made my decision, and you can probably guess that this year I am voting for Trump, but that's largely because I cannot abide by having a man with dementia who is being propped up as a Weekend at Bernie's candidate to basically allow some kind of Marxist ideology behind the scenes. And even if it's a Democrat corporatist ideology, I just fear that it is not the right choice. Now, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that if Biden gets elected, I'm hoping that everything's going to be hunky-dory. And same thing with Trump. I really hope that if he gets elected, we all calm down and we all just get over it, and we get back to doing the business of making money. So what do you do on those down ballots? I say those are important because, take for example something as simple as your city council. Well, your city council and your mayor, they also choose your planning commission. They choose other offices within the city. They do some of the bureaucratic hiring and firing, and so these are some of the things that you deal with on a daily basis. They affect your daily life. When it comes to me as an architect, I'm having to deal with cities. It's always cities or counties with me. I'm not dealing with states. I'm not dealing with federal government as much. Sometimes I deal with those governments, but the governments that I interact with the most would be municipalities. And you would be amazed at how much power these municipalities have over your life. So, and it can be something as simple as, can you put a casita in your backyard? Or can you put a chicken coop in your backyard if you want to grow chickens and have fresh eggs? Well, in a lot of cities, that's actually against the zoning ordinance, and you can actually be charged with a misdemeanor crime. Is that important to you? Well, if you want to be able to keep bees or raise chickens, that might be an important issue to you. So you need to be involved with your local politics. You need to make sure you know who you're electing to these offices, because, again, we need to, as a country, stop thinking that the federal government is the be-all and end-all. While that is a really important part of the election, your state and local elections are actually far more important. And part of the reason why they're more important, in addition to the fact that they're closer to you and the laws, the decisions made by these lower tier governments have a much greater impact on your daily life, they also form the bullpen or minor leagues for the national politics. So you want to have better quality candidates in the federal elections? Well, then you better make sure you're getting better quality people in your local offices. Don't just let the activists, the extremists within the parties, make these selections. Just assuming that, let's say you're a Republican or let's say you're a Democrat, doesn't matter. Or even if you're an independent but you kind of favor one party over the other. Stop the down ticket voting. It's the stupidest thing. I can't believe how stupid it is that we just automatically go, oh, well, I lean Republican on the federal elections, so and you check all the boxes without checking to see, well, okay, well, maybe the Democrat's better in this case, or more likely, maybe there's an independent. Maybe there's a Constitutional Party candidate, or some other party, like a Libertarian Party candidate or something. Maybe there's somebody else who's running that might be a better fit for the position that's being run. Try to get to know them. Try to figure out who they are. Check their websites. And yes, I know this is a lot of freaking work. And it's actually one of the reasons why I am not opposed to mail-in voting per se. And I say per se because obviously there's a lot of risk of fraud in the mail-in balloting. That is definitely a huge concern. We've been doing mail-in voting here in Utah for the last few election cycles, and frankly, It freaks me out each time when I look at it, but at the same time, I enjoy it because in the comfort of my home with the ballot, I can look at each issue, I can research every issue, I can look up the candidates, try to understand their platform, their position, um, try to look up videos of them, see what they're saying, um, and even when it comes to judges, for example, here in Utah, we can vote out a judge. We can't vote in a judge. That's actually appointed by the governor and then confirmed by the state legislature. So that's outside of our purview as voters, but we have a right to vote out judges when they come up for re-election. They'll stay if we do not vote them out. So you have to have, I think, a majority of people voting against them. And obviously that's a very high bar to hit because most people are just going to say, oh yeah, judge, yeah, this, yeah, check, 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 check. Because most people are going to be thinking, I don't know who these judges are. How the heck am I supposed to know? And when you're in the ballot booth, how are you supposed to know? You don't have time to go look. And I think most people, when you go into the ballot booth, you know, the voting booth, you're thinking, oh crap, I forgot to look up any of these issues or check the sample ballot on the state voting website to see what the heck was going to be on the ballot. No, instead, you just kind of check things off. So I think in a way, mail-in voting is going to be a good thing if we get past the fraud issues, if we find ways of making it fraud-proof. And I don't know how we would do that. It's a big issue that I hope we can solve. But yeah, I mean, we need to do something. And yeah, so I guess that's where I am. We all need to calm down. We need to be more rational, and we need to take time to really spiritually prepare ourselves for this election, because it is a very important election. And even just in our normal day-to-day health, during the pandemic, we've seen such a skyrocketing number of suicides, and we really need to help people gain some kind of sense of emotional and spiritual and mental health. So again, take care of your friends and family, check in on them, make sure they're doing okay, because we've lost enough people this year. I'm the colorblind architect. Peace out.